Finance New Orleans Programs Committee meeting roll call. Members, Chair Andronika Morris.
Present.
Mrs. Giselle Johnson Banks. Mr. Stephen Smith. Mr. Edgar Chase IV. A quorum is present.
Thank you, guys. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I felt like Elizabeth got cut off there, so I didn't know if I had lost the line. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for being patient with us. We're going to go ahead and get started, moving right into old business. Update on our friends at Christopher Homes. Do we have anything, any more information on this?
Hello, I'll turn that over to Derek to provide the current update on the SAC approval.
Thank you.
Yes, for the Christopher Park project, we did receive an update. Nothing has changed at this point in time. They're still waiting on the HUD environmental review to be completed. Once that's completed, they will submit that SAC application and will update us once that is completed.
Thank you very much, Derek. So yeah, we want to keep this on the old business to just keep checking in on this, see where they are with it. Unless anybody else any other questions for staff about this item, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. New business, and I'm going to turn things over. Commissioner Banks, are you okay? Giselle, are you good with us moving forward?
Yep, I'm here. I'm fine with us moving forward.
I know you here. I heard you.
Okay, all right.
I didn't want to take your silence for consent.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, to move forward.
Okay, moving on. Thank you. We're moving on to new business. Kelly, I'm going to turn this over to you because, like I said, I'm driving. So if you can take us through the new business, I would appreciate it.
Sure, no problem. So under new business, we have the Programs Committee meeting minutes from October 13th and November 10th. That Naj, correct me, that needs approval?
So
I'll go ahead and move approval on the minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Banks Johnson. With that motion, that's properly motioned. I'll entertain a vote to approve the minutes from those two meetings. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. The next item, Program Committee Dashboard. Go ahead, Kelly.
Sure, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. In regards to our programs dashboard, in the month of November, we had little to no activity. Actually, we had no activity in the Community Support Fund, the OWN New Orleans, and the Green Mortgage Program. So there's no change in our dashboard from October to November. We currently do not have any pending loan closings for the remainder of the year, but we did close a Green Mortgage loan on December 10th. So we did have one closing early December, and we don't have any in the pipeline to close in the remainder of the year. I would also like to just advise everyone that we will begin our aggressive marketing campaign in the first quarter for the Green Mortgage Program. So I do anticipate to see an increase in volume in the first quarter of next year based on our campaign efforts. So if there's any questions, we could just scroll through that dashboard. Again, there was no change in numbers or demographics. Yeah, that information. And so Naj, we can go to the pipeline.
All right, that's great. Moving on to pipeline. Pipeline report, our favorite report, right?
Yes, and I know you're driving, so I'll just bring some items of change to your attention. If there's any additional questions, you can always call me. But at this time, I'd like to discuss our active pipeline for the Sustainable Developer Program. Going forward, we want to have a more detailed conversation in this committee discussing the statuses of these developments. We're going to cover new items, new preliminary applications, any changes in status for those developments, if there's any shift. And of course, we're going to go in a little more detail for any upcoming approvals and or expectations from either this committee and or the board. I want to start to take these conversations in a different direction and be more informative and actively discussing all of our active developments. So if you look on the Excel spreadsheet today, each name will now have a link, and you can click on that link and it will bring you to our new summary form that we will be using going forward. And this is just a 2-page summary high-level document that provides a high-level overview of that development. Please keep in mind that based on the status of the development, the information on those forms would be limited. So the further along there in the process, the more information we will have, but this is a good resource for you to use for reference at any time. Derek will be leading these discussions regarding these summary forms, and it's going to be incorporated into our new process efficiency exercise starting next year. So I'll pause for just for a brief moment in case anyone has any questions on that change.
I think that's great. I do want to, I don't know if this is the what we're going to get to in a second, I imagine, is the part that I'm most interested in talking about today and getting settled today is our expectations from a timeline perspective, making sure that, you know, again, we're not rushing projects and then the staff understands that the program committee should see we set this up and talked about the fact that the program committee would need to review things in 1 month, and that final approval needed to, or board approval, I should say, board approval would need to happen and should happen in the next month so that the programs committee can review documents. That's going to take a really, you know, we do want to dig in and look at these documents. We're obligating the organization. We want some time with that, but having a programs committee meeting 1 week and then maybe a week or 2 weeks later having the full board to approve something in the same month is too fast. So this is good to get us to that place so that we can, but we still want to keep that timeline, because again, once we get to full approval, you're going to have a boatload of documents, to be kind, when you're getting the board approval, and we still want to be able to review those documents. I heard that from program committee members and other board members. So we do want the time to really review the documents as best we can so we can have good questions and know what we're getting the organization into.
Yeah, totally understand. And no, our goal is to stay ahead of the game going forward. So these discussions are to help in that process. The more informative, the better communication, the easier read it's going to be for you to go through those documents to make a sound decision on the approvals. So understood, and that is a takeaway that we'll use in the new process. So with that, I will turn it over for Derek to go over some of the expectations or events that'll be happening by the end of the year on these current developments.
Thank you, Kelly. So in terms of our pipeline for our multifamily program, of course, we have 4 projects that are pending closing. We've had some adjustments to the closing dates for those projects. So for Christopher Park and Grove Place, those projects, their closing dates have been pushed back to the beginning of next year. So we expect them to close sometime before the end of January. Just for Christopher Park, just because of the complexity of that bond process and the number of stakeholders at the table for that closing, it's just taking a little bit longer for them. And then for Grove Place, Grove Place has to go back to LAC, do some changes in project costs. So they're just straightening things out with LAC before we can go to the closing table. We don't expect that to affect anything on our end. For H3C and the reveal, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Angelica. You have questions there?
No.
Sure.
That was a call and response.
Okay, great. I'm sorry, Mrs. Morris. And then for H3C and the reveal, we do expect those two projects to close before the end of the year. H3C is set to close on December 20th, and then the reveal project is set to close the week before New Year's. So we should have both those projects closed before the end of the year, and be.
And the reveal is
Yes.
reveal is close to completion, right? Because it's a different kind of deal. We're coming in as they are nearing completion, so we're gonna close and then they're gonna open, right?
Right.
Am I okay? That's the right project.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So they've already completed construction on that project. They were awaiting certificate of occupancies for their project, as well as, of course, the pilot from Finance New Orleans. But they are ready to begin leasing out those apartments.
Fantastic. And how many units are in that one again?
Naj, can you
And I
scroll
could
over
link
to
if I
the?
wasn't driving.
No, yeah, it's no problem. It's no problem. So we have 150 units for that project.
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right,
Thank you,
Giselle,
Naj.
do you want to ask Derek any questions about those 4 projects? I'm gonna take that silence as consent.
All right.
Anything else,
Well,
Derek?
yes. So we just want to bring, as part of this process, we want to also take this time to speak about other projects that will be coming down the pipeline over the next few months. So we have gotten submissions from Our Lady of Lourdes, Rome Villas, and 4528 Ferret Street. So those projects are pending underwriting at the moment. So we should have something for you guys in January for you to review, and then bring that back to the programs committee and board in February for a final approval. Well, actually, I'm sorry, excuse me. We'll be coming to the board for preliminary approval. The Barone Villas and Our Lady of Lourdes projects are bond financing projects. So we would get a preliminary approval, go to the State Bond Commission, and then that project would come back for a final approval from Programs Committee and the Board of Trustees.
Okay, great. So we're gonna start hearing more about this one in the new year.
Yes, yes. And then the last thing that we have in terms of pipeline, just wanted to bring to you guys' attention. We have MPS that's on this pipeline currently as one of the projects. That project will be moved over to a different pipeline as part of our innovation program. So you will see that one drop off as well. Otherwise,
Okay,
that's all that I have today.
And also, did you talk about, and then did I miss it, Brown Dairy?
Yes, that's the H3C project. We're expecting to close December 20th.
Gotcha. What H3C is what they're calling it?
Yes.
Why?
H3C. So it stands for health, community. The 3 C's stand for specific meaning. Let me go back in right quick.
Can you, I'd like to know what that means.
Absolutely.
That's not going to be the name of the building. That's not going to be the name of the building, right?
So it's the name of the project in total.
The project, I get that. That's like LLC and all that other stuff. stuff, but yeah.
Yes. So it's health, community, culture, and commerce is what H3C stands for.
Health, community, culture, and what's the last C?
Commerce.
Ah, ew. Well, okay. 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 All right. These are small things. This is not even remotely a deal breaker.
No, yeah.
Okay.
You know, should know as much about these projects as possible. So it's not a problem at all. Do we have any other questions from you, Chairwoman Morris or Chairwoman Banks?
No, I don't have
Doesn't
anything.
sound like it. Oh, wait. Go ahead.
I'm
No,
sorry.
I was saying I don't have any questions, no.
Okay.
And I would like to make a few comments here. Number one, I just want to give out a few superlatives for the year. Since we're closing out, I want to acknowledge Kelly and all of the programs team. They've done a lot of great work and hard work in order to, not only do things like pull this information together, but get these projects to the finish line, cultivating time with developers, et cetera. So I just want to acknowledge the fact that the programs team picked up a heavy load and they've helped get this machine rolling. So with these 4 projects that we have coming up, that's going to take our, it's not an official accounting asset number that I'm about to give you, but it includes all of our program assets and investments. It'll take us over 150 million. And we haven't been at that level in quite some time, or up to about 150 million. So this is a great milestone for us as an organization. Of course, it's the beginning. There's a lot to be done. But Kelly, Derek, Sheila, and Carolyn, they work hard and collaborate quite a bit on just making all these things happen. And I want to acknowledge and pull out Derek specifically because he's taken on, we've given him a lot to handle with managing all these projects. And as soon as we launched this program, projects just started coming from out of nowhere. So we had to saddle up and just manage and organize all of this information. So I want to acknowledge the work that he's done as well as Kelly, and of course the rest of the team. So thank you guys.
Well said, Damon. Couldn't agree more. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
There's one more thing I would like to share. Derek mentioned that one project moving over to the innovation pipeline. Beginning of the year, we're going to come to this committee and then ultimately the board with a plan for our Resilient Innovation Fund. We've been talking about that for a few years now. Just to give you the background, we have a Pathways Fund that was as high as 30 properties at one time, and we made a decision to repurpose that program. But we've been on a quest to sell the homes and prepare the homes for sale or use in this new program. So it's taken us some time to get to this point, but we're finally here. So we're going to come to you in January with some information about what the Resilient Innovation Fund is, what its purpose, and all of the relevant legal documents will come as well. So it may happen over the course of a meeting or two, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that we're going to start sharing that information, and we have some investments lined up. So we're ready to close some more projects at the beginning of next year in this Resilient Innovation Fund. But there are a few steps that we have to take before we come to you for your full blessing.
Okay. So as much information as you can give us about that, anything that you guys have in advance, like as written, like for your, like maybe share with the committee. You guys probably have like an executive summary or something like that to refresh our memory, and let us have that before the end of the year. And then when we come into the meeting next year, we'll and you guys have something more concrete, we can connect it to that.
No problem. We'll get that information to you.
Great. Well, I think that concludes the dashboard and the active pipeline report, and as well as our executive director taking his privilege as executive director to give us a impromptu report, which we are happy to hear. Do we have any public comments?
No public comments at this time.
All right, well, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Giselle. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Great meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, have a merry, oh, we'll see y'all before Christmas.
See you on Friday.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Still got one more day.
One more, I know, one more, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have to, tomorrow, we're Friday, yeah, so we'll see y'all on Friday.
Yep.